I want to talk to you guys a bit about intention. It's a big buzzword, you know, good intentions, bad intentions, second intentions. Does anybody here have a real great mindset practice where they set intentions in the beginning of the day?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Share with us a little bit about what you do. It's real. The first part of your day is so important. What do you guys do in the morning, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, sure. I'll be quick. So like I've been intermittent fasting for about 6 months now. It's amazing because you have like amazing clarity, especially in the morning. But yeah, I wake up, work out, and then I pray, meditate. I find like working out just like creates a lot of energy, and then meditating and praying really helps you focus that. And then like when I do like the meditating, visualizing, and like affirmations and stuff, I try to invoke some kind of emotion, because I think that's like very important when you're visualizing. And
totally. Yeah, it's like being in the emotion of the result.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's gonna happen, on your mom.
That's what has things move toward you. You're on the money right there. Yeah. Good deal. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Emily,
yeah,
go ahead. I thought
wake up in the morning, try to get up before my kids, which doesn't happen that often. But when I do, I try to meditate for at least like 10 or 15 minutes. I have my affirmations. I do my oil pulling, and while I do my oil pulling in the morning, I always have to listen to something like motivational YouTube video. Bob Proctor is a good one. Abraham, something to just get my motivation for the day, and you know, keep my thoughts positive starting out in the morning.
I recommended, if you like Abraham and things like that, something called Your Wish is Your Command.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar type stuff, very practical approach to all that.
Definitely.
And that's a listening. If you need it on Drive, I can drop you a zip, but you can. It's really not that hard to find. And reading wise, if you can read the 4 agreements and master those, I mean, your whole world is going to change. So if you guys,
I need to reread that.
it's huge. As I was saying before, I'm not perfect by any means because I'm a human being. However, at the core of everything that I do for the most part is because between that and say like meditation, keeping the 4 agreements as an operating system for my mind and my emotions, it had me be able to create a lot of space, not only in my mind between my thoughts, but also between me and what's actually happening in the world, so I can see it differently. So I highly recommend, you know, reading that, keeping it with you, reading it again. The CD set's amazing. I've been listening to that for years, at least 10 years plus. And I've listened to it a number of times over the years. And there's always something I pick up on that I didn't hear before. And it's really helped my journey as an entrepreneur because it really has you start to ask different questions. Here's what I'm gonna do really quick, just for a second, is share my screen. So I want to talk to you for a second about intention versus mechanism. There's really an unlimited amount of ways to make $1 million, yet not everybody's doing it. The mechanism matters so little compared to that. The type of thinking that you're using. Because get rich quick schemes, you could do that. You could do something that's really challenging. This can be a challenging program for people. I was a technician for a phone company for many, many years. And I stopped doing that in 2011 and went on this journey of personal development and awareness and things like that. And this is where I end up in front of you guys now, you know, supporting you. But it's going to be up to you. And really, this right here is like super important. Let me kind of talk about it for a second and come back to the screen. What most people think intention is. And a lot of people think it's like their plan for what they're going to do, or like it's their hope. They hope this is going to happen. That's their intention. It's not that. Your intentions get to be super crystal clear and set your intentions every day, regardless. And when you don't do it, get back on it, because it's going to be really important to set yourself up to win at the beginning of the day so that your day unfolds in front of you organically and naturally. You don't have to force things to happen. Does that make sense? Yep. What I'm going to go into right here is as to why we may or may not hit, say, our goals, and then above that, which is your vision. Is life a straight line?
Nah.
No.
Absolutely not.
No, it never is, right? And this is not going to be a straight line for you guys. I promise you, because there's going to be stuff you don't know how to do. And with any business that you start, you're just creating new problems that you get to solve. They're good problems to solve, and some of them are going to like block you, maybe not. You're going to be creating problems that you need to solve. But nothing's a straight line. But I'm doing a straight line here just to kind of prove a point. Well, let me give you an example. Let's say I was still working a job. Anybody here? Anybody still working a job? Chris?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Part-time, and I've got my
What's up,
kids.
Doc? Didn't see you come in. You said Emily part-time?
Part-time, and I've got 2 little ones, so yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome, Josh. You got 2 little ones. That's awesome. So if I'm at work, right, and I'm doing my, like in my, what you call just my automatic of the day, and I'm thinking about my girl who's at home, and I'm like, you know, it'd be really nice to have a really romantic night with her. You know, we'll do like candlelit dinner, and we'll have a little fun. You know what I mean? That's like my intention, right? Starts here. And then I haven't left work yet, right? So what if I'm working sales? And my last call of the day, which when I was in sales, I always loved to have a last call closed. Happened more because that was always my intention. I want to walk out on a sale. It's always nice to cap the day off with a sale. Doesn't always happen though. What if the last call, the potential prospect was a real prick?
So
Why is that funny? I'm just
that was in the morning.
tell me why that's funny. But let's say that happened, right? So I set this intention for some, you know, some fun. I set that, and all of a sudden I start taking actions into that intention. Like after I set the intention, then the actions in life come. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get some, I have my sales call, it's really going good, answer some questions, right? And then the prick kicks in. And then I start to get irritated. That's a choice to get irritated. And then like, I feel like my time's being wasted. And the guy starts like insulting me. And I'm making all these choices to not keep my peace and to stay on course, right? Then I leave work and I'm like, now I'm like, I want to leave on a last call close. I left on a prick. And then I get on the highway. And it's like a 20-minute drive home. It's rush hour. Alan, does that sound, what's that mean?
It just means that you have a bad day if you don't correct it.
Yes, like that. Exactly. So I'm driving, right? And I'm like, man, I'm driving thinking in my head, man, that last call, really, I can't believe that guy wasted my time. Why didn't he close? As Zaire said, there's always a way to close somebody. What did I do wrong? I'm getting down on myself and things like that. So I'm still making all these choices. And then like somebody's not driving fast enough. And I'm like, get the hell out of my way, laying on the horn, road rage, all this stuff taking me off course from what I said I wanted to do. Then I get home. And you know what? My girl, she's making food that I don't like. Only adds to the irritation. I told her I don't like spaghetti sauce. It has to be a certain type of like light sauce. So then I start getting like even more irritated about that. All of a sudden I'm way off course from what I said I wanted to do. What happened? Did I have that intention happen, or did I somehow get over here? You think it's random? It's not, right? Now, let me do this really quick. At any point in here, I can catch it and interrupt it and say, you know what? Let me go like rub up on her leg. Let me like, you know, go hug her from behind. Let me get off my stuff. I left it at work, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden it's like, I'm coming back to, yeah, it's coming back. It can change at any moment. But while you're over here, there's a chance, there's an opportunity to look at how you got here. All right. Now, who said it earlier? Where he said, there's Zaire, wasn't it? Or Christopher, I think it was, where he said life gets in the way sometimes of our goals.
Yeah.
Could be a million different reasons why we didn't get our goals done, why we got off course. That's what you were talking about. Life got in the way. I had a prick on the phone. Somebody cut me off in traffic, and you end up way over here. There's really only 4 or 5 reasons. And this is what you want to do. When you don't hit your goals, this is how you evaluate why you didn't hit them so that you can start hitting them. Okay? And you guys are going to want to write these down. There's really only a few reasons why human beings don't follow through on their word and hit their goals, which then ends up not getting to your vision of having $1 million freed up lifestyle, philanthropy, whatever it is for you guys, whatever your why is. Reason number 1.
Needs to be right.
You need to
Yes.
be right. You need to be right about what?
Everything.
Remember the box?
Yeah.
You need to be right about your opinions, your assumptions, your beliefs, your opinions and your beliefs and your assumptions. It's the absolute need to hold on to the right to be right about all that stuff. And then you can look at it. Was it one of those? The next one is this. The need to be safe and comfortable. I didn't stretch past my comfort zone. I stayed right where I was at. All the magic they say happens outside your comfort zone, right?
Yes.
Your need to control everything. Does anybody in here have an issue with control? Perfectionist kind of thing? Zaire?
Sometimes I could, honestly. That I'm working on that as I speak now.
Most people have that. Some people it stands out more than others. And you call people like narcissists and all this other stuff, and there's all these labels. But it's really like an underlying, like a need to control. All that really is a lack of trust about
Fear.
Huh?
It's fear.
Yeah, fear.
You try to control because you're afraid that if you're not in control, that it won't go right.
Specifically, what you're talking about, it's a fear of a loss, right?
Yeah.
Called scarcity. So it's a, I don't want to use the word lack of trust, but an ineffective amount of trust in your direction, your choices, which has you then start to control everything. Fourth one. This is the other one too. This one here. Fear of change, which then comes back to control. Your unwillingness to let things change. I know lots of people that are willing to learn, but they don't want to let things change. Let things move out of the way for something more appropriate for you.
How do you recognize what you need to change, though?
It's not you changing. It's, Josh, I appreciate you asking that. It's not specifically you changing or changing something. It's allowing things in life to change. They want to keep things the way they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Allowing the process to go. And do its
Trusting
thing.
the process and allowing things to unfold, and having patience. Huge as an entrepreneur is to have patience in yourself, in the process, in your learning curve, all that stuff. The only thing that you can count on is for things to change. It's the only certain thing in this world, in this universe, in your life. If you're doing the same thing now in 6 months, you're doing the same exact thing with no growth, no change. I'd say you're like running on automatic, which we're going to talk about that as well, but that's what employees do. Same thing over and over again, running on the hamster wheel, paycheck after paycheck, paycheck to paycheck, but nothing ever changes.
I was going to say that, you know, things will change. That's inevitable. Change is inevitable, but
Yeah.
it probably won't change in your business.
Well, that's where your attitude comes in.
Yeah.
Got it? See how it comes?
Yeah.
Like it's like all one big thing.
Yeah. And
Here's
that's
the-
intention too.
It's a big
all
thing.
tied together.
Here's the last one. Ready? And tell me who on here does this. What are you laughing at?
Guilty.
Right?
Right.
Sorry, Ben, can you explain? Good.
Yes. I'll put it up. That one right there, you mean?
Yes.
All right, watch this. Tell me if this doesn't sound better.
Needs to be perfect.
Your image. Your image becomes more important to you than finding a creative solution. I don't want to ask this question publicly because I might look stupid. Did that land for anybody?
Yeah, 100%. I think I'm guilty of that, like more than I like.
Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. All of us. This is human being right here, by the way. Not complicated. This is your boiled down set of reasons why you don't hit your goals. This stuff right here. No other reasons. Tell me what you guys are hearing. I want you to share it back because I know this is like probably simplifying some stuff for you.
Yeah, on the point of change, how do you know what if your situation is that you have all these opportunities, and you don't, it's kind of like focus, like understanding which to roll with,
And you can ask questions like, so you got to have a vision. Vision's really important because it's like vision, purpose, these types of distinctions that you have, they're guideposts because lots of stuff shows up. If you're and I say this in law of attraction terms, if you're a really attractive person and a lot of different opportunities are showing up to distract you and you just is that what's happening? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. You got to be clear about your vision, what direction you want to go, right? Your why, your purpose for doing it. And then you ask questions like, does this fit or not fit? Where does it fit into my vision? Does it not fit? Does part of it fit? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're not going to want to put all your eggs in one basket right away. You can easily work however many jobs you have, whether it's 1, 2, or 3. You're going to want to like patiently start to shove off, start reclaiming a little bit of time here and there, not thinking the grass is greener. That is not the reason for you to walk away from the jobs. The reason for you to start thinking about moving away from the job is when you've got so much going with this that your job is getting in the way of this. I'll give you some examples. I left my job and I was sales. I've actually done the entrepreneur leave the job a couple times now. This is my last one doing it because I'm just kind of going for a bunch of different stuff. I knew this time, the first time I walked away from the job, it was because this place sucks. I'm going to go be a millionaire. Screw those people over there. Like that was a long time ago. I'm talking like 10 plus years, 2008, 2009. And it all came to fruition in 2011, where I lost the job at AT&T Bell South, went off on this journey, and then I worked on myself for a while with this kind of stuff and some other stuff. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that I have that I've been using, and those CDs are really great for agreements. But this stuff, you can start to really evaluate and see why you're not getting stuff done. and then adjust. And then you just adjust. It's like a ship. It gets off course. The plane gets off course. It has drift, right? You drift this way, you drift that way. That's what these things will show you how you drift, are these things. And when you are doing your accountability calls with your partners, ask each other. I recommend doing this together rather than on your own, because it's easier for you to reflect off of somebody than trying, because you can get lost in this too and get stuck. You can. So you want to be really quick about it. Identify one, two, or all of them as to why you got off course, and then get back on course, recommit and get back to it, and then notice if you do it again. But for me, this time around, when I was ready to leave my job, it's funny how the universe works. The job that I had was a 5-day-a-week sales job on the phone. I had a lot of time I could take off. They gave me 10 hours a month that I could take off. I could take off lots and lots of time, sick time. There's just, they gave you a lot of time. And towards the end, where I knew it was coming, because it's just, you can see when things start to go in different directions. As a company and their context and the way they were running things, they were going in one direction. Personally, I'm going in this other direction, and it's just, you could see the divergence. But still managing the situation appropriately, responsibly, doing my best performance day in and day out to the very last day where I turned in my, resigned. But this time around, as I started to take more and more time off, like sick time, paid time off, this type stuff, every time I wasn't at work, I'd get a phone call where if I was at work, I would have never received a phone call about a possible deal, a client that was being handed to me, a great conversation would show up. So my time, I need to start reclaiming my time more than I had 40 hours tied up in this other place. I needed some of that time back. So there's a tipping point where you're like, okay, it's time. So until you get there, don't jump. I'm not telling you can't jump into this all the way, but the most successful people don't do that. Do what makes sense until it doesn't make sense to do it anymore. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Josh, did it help?
Yes, it helps. Yeah.
Your vision is going to be really important, and your why. It'll guide you to know what, and then you ask your questions. Do these opportunities fit? Do they not fit? Am I good where I'm at? Am I trading one job for another one that's about the same? Is it a lateral move? Why would I make a lateral move? You have to look at this stuff. This will help you evaluate that too. If people are offering you jobs, it might be playing into your ego, into your image.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, a little bit.
I had someone that I was working with. It's an all or none conversation. Like, it's a scarce conversation. And I'll give you an example of what I mean when I say that. Like, I made maybe $85,000 a year at the last sales job I had. That was the cap you could make. And one of the guys I was working with, this is long before either one of us left, or before I was even in this program, but this is a real great example where you can kind of find the wiggle room, find the options. You always want to find the wiggle room. It gives you, wiggle room gives you options. And let me explain what I mean. So my associate who was working there was looking at a different job, or said I can't stand working at this place anymore because he couldn't navigate this stuff. His image was really important to him. I watched him do it. I've known this stuff for years, so I use it over and over again to look at like where I'm at and stuff like that. And is it really better over there than where I'm at? Not really. But what he was doing was his image and his need to control and look good, like all this stuff was getting in the way for him honestly evaluating the situation, where he's like, where am I going to find a $75,000 or $80,000 a year job around here? I got to replace that. I got to replace that income. And I said to him, I'm like, look, this is about finding just a little bit of time. And this is about evaluating your time, finding the value of your time, which we talked about. But when you understand, you don't need to replace 40 hours worth of time. You need to steal a little bit here and a little bit there back. I asked him, I'm like, well, if you're driving, is he making 75,000? By the way, he never really hit above 50,000. So he's looking at this like, how do I replace a $75,000 a year job? And he never made it past 50. He wasn't even there for a year. So he's going all the way, like worst case scenario. But even with that, I said to him, if you're driving down a highway, will you get there going 55 almost as quick as you will going there 75? Yes. Well, then you don't need to just bring it down a little bit. Go 50 or 55. It will still work. Does that support you?
Yeah. I think maybe I'm being a little fearful of change, and maybe I should hop on the opportunity. Yeah. But thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. If it makes sense. I mean, it's like it's hard to distinguish between these things, but if you can find, does it fit? Does it not fit? Does it make sense? You know, jumping ship for one thing for a lateral move. I almost did that. And I was like, this same gentleman actually ended up leaving there where we were making easily, it was an easier job than what he left for. Let's say he was making 50,000. It was like a $10 an hour job, but commission on top of that, which ended up being 75 or 80,000. He ditched that for a job across town where he got a salary of 40 with a possible commission of like 80 or 90. I looked at it and I'm like, all right, so with very little effort and a $10 an hour salary, which is they just gave you that. It's a security, being safe and comfortable kind of thing. Like you hear salary 40,000, it lures people in. I looked at it, I'm like, all right, so you're going to give me $40,000 for sure, and I got to bust my butt to make it up to 80 or 90. Or I don't bust my butt now and I already make 80 or 90. Why would I go do that? So he actually got me in for an interview, and I went in there and pitched them to be their sales trainer. I kind of flipped on them. Because I was like, I got nothing to lose. I realized that I'm like, let me just go in there and see what they actually need. It was a great conversation. It was a great experience. So everybody learned from it. Really, really great. And I stayed at the job. I was clear about the job. I'm like, before I walked into the interview, and you can do this too, Josh, you can get clear about, is it a lateral move? Does it make sense? Am I better off where I'm at? Do I really have that many issues where I'm already at that it's going to cause me to want to leave? Or do the pros outweigh the cons? That kind of stuff. And when I got clear on it before I went in for the interview, I'm like, I got nothing to lose. Why not ask him? So in this area here, all this stuff, everything in here. What are you committed to? Are you committed to this? Or you get committed to being right about the guy on the road, about the narrative about the prick that was on the phone, about the food that the girl's making? Am I going to get committed to all that and keep going, committed to being right about all this stuff and take me way over here? Or am I going to let go and say, this is more important to me than all this? Way more important to me, and then get back on track. Because after your intention comes the action, does it not?
Yep.
You set the intention. Action can be, can be thinking, but it's more about what you're doing. If you ever want to know what you're actually committed to in the moment, look at what you're doing. Just check in. Am I committed to what I say I'm up to, like what I'm creating, my vision, with this action that I'm creating now?
Be accountable for what you're doing,
How you got there? How did I get over there? I got committed to all that stuff. Not one of them, but all of them. I needed to be right about everybody else. I needed to stay comfortable in all that familiarity, because the beliefs and stuff are all familiar to us. I needed to control the situation.
Yeah.
And damn, I needed to look good. My image was really important to me. That right there, if you can let go of your image for something greater, there's no limit to what you guys can actually come up with. It really isn't. Is this supportive for everybody?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yep.
I highly recommend using this to evaluate why you are hitting your goals and why you're not. Celebrate both of them. There is no getting hard on yourselves, getting down on yourselves about why you didn't hit your goals. There's no guesswork as to why you're not hitting your goals. It's very, very simple. This stuff. What did I get committed to that took me off course into this stuff over here? So I put a little box right there. And this ties right into the box I showed you earlier. Your opinions, your beliefs, your assumptions, all that stuff. Got it?